we have maximum data entry in column. Now here we have got the records, but we have not we are not able to identify which record was modified within the work atom. So we have this problem. How we overcome this? We may use a separate table column in which we mention from previous batch at what time and date the record was successfully inserted into the ERP. Let me see. Okay, I'm storing this date and time in a lookup table. So what I'm doing is considering this date and time during the transformation. When I fetch the data, I eliminate the unwanted data. Unwanted data in the sense now in supplier one, only supplier one is modified. So then what I will do is I will not consider any of the contact or communication details to be sent to the ERP. Only change in the supplier. And in the example two, only contact information is changed and no supplier information or communication details is changed. So what I'm doing is I'm eliminating supplier details, but why supplier ID and supplier target is it is essential fields which is required for the integration purpose, and I'm eliminating all other fields. This is for changed in supplier, changed in contact. And similarly for the communication, if there is a okay, here it is a example of supplier with communication, so I'm considering all the fields in the supplier and all the fields in the communication. I'm not considering contact fields. If any contact ID reference is required, so we will consider that field and supplier details and communication details, and we will send. So this is how the records are filtered. We can even send unfiltered records also. What will happen is at the ERP side, even though the records are not changed, at the ERP side, it will reflect as the record is changed. So in order to avoid that uh, conflict, which will happen during the analysis of records when the record was updated, when the basically the statistics logs, it gets affected if we send all the data, even if it is not changed. So that is the reason why we are eliminating the unchanged records within the Workato itself. So coming to the transformation part, how we are providing the transformation at the Workato is once the data is fetched and it is normalized. This is normalization. So once the data is fetched and it is normalized to a proper format as required, then what we are doing is we are transfer sending the data to a particular separate transformation dedicated to that ERP. Suppose if there are JD requires a particular transformation, that is put in a separate dedicated ERP transformation logic, and SAP India requires a separate transformation, it is sent to a separate transformation, and SAP Vietnam is required separate, it has a separate. And based on a target ERP, suppose as I was telling, even last time also example, the supplier which needs to be sent to only India, that is only sent to India. The supplier which needs to send to only Vietnam, or Vietnam and JD, that is sent only to those ERPs. So there will not be any missed data, unwanted data, which will be going to the transformation of as well. So posted the transformation here, we are making use of a Python transformation code block. Why Python? Why not direct data mapping? And why not any other block is we have an advantage of having a bulk transformation at the transformation within the Workato. So that's the reason we are going with the Python code block transformation. If there is a state to state transformation, suppose the data which is accepted by the ENDRP is a straightforward. It doesn't have a complex JSON structure. Then we can use a direct state-to-state mapping. What is a complex data structure I'm referring to is now we have a supplier contact and communication defined in the centric as a three object, three levels. Supplier as a supplier and as a supplier's child contact details, sorry, sorry, contact, and as a child of contact communication details. This is the only three levels of hierarchy we have at the centric. But at the end ERP, it may be different. How it may be different is I'll pull up one sample. Let me share my just a second.